What's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It's your boy Carcino here. And let's talk about a few things. There's been a lot of disturbance and a lot of people who were very shocked and stunned that BET went in the way that they went for the awards this year. That many people who don't even watch the awards were the people that were more shocked and appalled by what they saw. And that's because we come from a different generation. So we understand things a little bit better, a little bit differently than how other people would perceive it. Like, for instance, me and Kwame are from a whole different era. So naturally, when we saw that, people that were like us were shocked and offended at the same time. Now, this isn't a knock on homosexuality. We don't want people to believe that. We want people to believe that what we're finna tell you is the flat out most honest thing a human being has ever spoken about the situation and what's going on. But we're speaking as facts of what's right for television, the message that's being promoted and sent, and the way things are being forced upon minors and children, from commercials to everyday walks of life. We're seeing a lot of different changes that are happening around just the industry, period. And it's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody who got here. Hopefully you got your notification. You know, a lot of this stuff haven't been happening. I'm just now getting back into my home. I said, let me address this because there was a lot of concern. Kwame put his concerns out there to the world and my concerns about the dangers of what happened and the outlook of how we got here. I think a lot of people are going to want to know how we got here, right? So, as I sit here and chill in my den, I do want to point out a lot of things. My grandparents over there, my parents over here, a lot of things were done in helping making me the person I am today. A lot of people didn't have that foundation. A lot of people had to endure a lot of different things that happened in life that I didn't have to endure. So I might have a different understanding. You might have other people with different understandings to the situation or have a different outlook to it. That's fine. All of it is respected. But the thing is, I don't want people to think this is hate towards gays, because it's not. This is not a hate towards anyone. We're just explaining how we feel about the situation and how others felt. Now, Kwame expressed how he felt, and don't forget to follow him at Kwame Brown Bus Life. I am Carcino for life. Don't forget to follow this page as well. And we're going to get to it. Now, for me, things started to change around hip hop in a different time zone, like around 2008. There was almost no more hip hop anymore. A lot of things started to change as far as what hip hop would be and how it would be represented moving forward. Translation, there was a lot of things that went completely wrong. And I could take these off now because I'm back in the house. But there's a lot of things that went completely wrong in the entire process. Now, let's get into what went completely wrong in this process. When Mr. Johnson left BET and they had this big 25th anniversary thing, and he basically turned over the keys of the company to Deborah Lee. This was the beginning of unraveling that they didn't even expect. Some did, but the changing of the guards was starting to come into play. It was, in other words, it was a lot of testosterone around the place at the time, and they were weeding out the old people who had this power they felt, or any type of entitlement. They were basically removed and fired from staff. Anybody from BET who resembled any type of testosterone or power, they were being decimated and thrown away. Then you had people who were in the mix who were detractors from great programming and everything else, but they were always team players, and they were always in the room vetting new talent and promoting people who they liked to situations. Where you had the coming through the door in 2007, 2008 of L.A. Reid when he went over to Def Jam. So L.A. Reid goes over there. You had Sean Puffy Combs, and you had Stephen Hill. Now, Stephen was the vice president at the time, I believe, or president. And this guy, back in 2007, it was crazy. They end up coming in through the door, and since he was there all these years, and what's her name, Deborah Lee kept vouching for him for everything. There were so many accusations against this man for misconduct sexually, and it was so bad. And this was not women making complaints, it was men. Stephen Hill were being accused by numerous men, and BET knew it, and they kept trying to cover it up and fix it behind the scenes. Now, these things, a lot of people didn't believe it when it was spoken about in whispers. Now, I remember BET was talking about getting into boxing and doing some promotions with fighters, because they normally deal with NBA basketball. And I remember we had did a video on YouTube that got a lot of hits, and it was building energy towards the Manny Pacquiao fight. And it was Journey Through the Mayweather Mansion. And I think I had just done an interview with Floyd Mayweather. So people from CBS Sports said this person that works at BET wants to get in contact with you. They finna do a BET Sports segment. They were trying to lure attention to me as if, he got access to Floyd. And I sent them to Ben Thompson at the time. I said, go to Ben Thompson, not me. He gave me an interview, but I don't have full access to Floyd, which at that time I really did. I had his personal number. I could just pick up and call. I had the main phone. So if I call that one, he answers that ASAP. So that time I had that number. And then he called me from another number one time when he needed some information. This was all before the Manny Pacquiao fight. This was when that thing was the biggest thing going, and it was trending. So when that was happening, they were looking to try to see if I could get Floyd into doing some things, because Floyd was very selective on who he had promoting him. Plus, BET wasn't really doing boxing or even promoting fighting. So why would anybody waste their time? working with them. Now, around that time, BET made some changes. They decided to cancel Rap City in 2008. Do you know Rap City came back after it was replaced in 2008 and shut down? It came back in the summer of 2009, and it did a one show special that aired in honor of Relapse, the Eminem album. He had Big Tigger and Eminem. They brought Rap City back one day just for that. Then it went away again and then come back into 2013. And who was the guest? It was EM360, another Eminem promoting Marshall Mathers LP. Rap City is no more. But here comes Eminem, and he gets to keep everything. Like, we opening up shop for Eminem. That's what we were doing. So it's gonna get real interesting now. Sean Puffy Combs always defended his homeboy Steve Hill. Stephen Hill was his guy. That was Puffy's homeboy at BET. Anytime he needed something done, he could go with Stephen Hill. Now, I already told you, Stephen Hill had everything going against him. From people making claims, all this other stuff, and it's got to get cleaned up by Deborah Lee. He make a mess, she clean it up. But he was very good at his job. He was very good at setting up all these different ideals and shows. He just likes to play in the workplace. And for a man in his position, that was not a good idea. Now, this man was not very open about anything with his sexuality. But everyone who worked there, everyone who knew the situation, knew that this guy was different. And he left an imprint that if he wanted it, he could take it from you, even if you weren't that guy. He wasn't afraid to make an advance. Allegedly. Choke No Joke told us the stories of his encounter with this gentleman when he worked at BET. And we also heard the horrors from other people that worked there. Now, David K. Farrell, who used to work there as well, said that he's not a homophobic person, but he never in all of his life felt so uncomfortable around a gay person than he felt around was the current president of BET at the time, Stephen Hill. And he says he had an in-car experience in which he did not comply in the way that Mr. Hill liked. And there's others who have lost positions and jobs because they did not go along with the advances and they weren't interested. Their careers were halted as David was fired. They created reasons to fire him, and he was gone from the company. And he always felt like, man, I came back over the weekend and I was a black sheep, all because I didn't conform to what they wanted to have done. Now, with that being said, it opened up other doors for other opportunities to happen. So the Brain Trust got together and had him gotten out of there, basically. He was a threat to their system. Now, Choke said they had a game of who would you sleep with, who would you marry, and who would you F? Like who would you kill and all that. And he was like, It's nothing but dudes in there. And, why are they playing this game? And somebody else said that they would marry Stephen Hill, that is. And he found that game to be playing with a bunch of men, asking them questions about nothing but other men. In the questions, it's like, what are you doing that for? All the tests. Seeing who gonna ride with them. Which side you gonna run on or root for. So they just played their audience to a T. Whoever was an audience to it, that's who they played to for the likes. Joke said advances was made to him also. Now, is this a coincidence that around this time, all the hardcore hip hop artists are gone, Rap City's gone, BET got all of these different type of shows that are coming in? Very interesting, right? David K came through, started talking about what he was doing and what the program stood for. Right? Now, enter B. Scott. Let's show the world who B. Scott is, gentlemen. That's B. Scott. B. Scott is a man, a transgender man, who basically had a job with TNT and loved this job. And I mean BET, not TNT. With BET, loved the job. And doing the runway, and B. Scott was hired for fashion on the red carpets and to make sure the stars are looking fabulous when they get interviewed. Now, this is a no-no. The president of basketball operations, Stephen Hill, allegedly tells people that I don't want B. Scott looking like a woman. I want tempered B. Scott. Then it says, Rashonda Cohen offered to help, saying, can I speak to him? I said, I could speak to him about being less womanly. Wow. Look at that. So, Stephanie Hodges wrote a short email after all the heat went down, and then he got upset and said he was going to blow all of this up and call GLAAD. Then they put out an apology. BET Network embraces global diversity in all forms, seeks to maintain an exclusive workforce and a culture that values perspectives and backgrounds. The incident with B. Scott was a singular one with the series and unfortunately miscommunications from both parties. We regret any unintentional offense to B. Scott and anyone within the LGBT community, and we seek to continue embracing gender platforms. Now, let's try this on for keepers, right? Because now the situation is getting more and more crazier. You having people coming out making apologies for things, trying to cover up. So the B. Scott incident made it get a little bit out of control, because doing a broadcast that was live and was going on, they had B. Scott, who was dressed up what they thought was too feminine and wanted him to change to look more manly on the broadcast. And once they did that, they violated his human rights. See, didn't matter what sexual orientation he is, you violated this person's human rights and thought they were in the right to do that, Mr. Stephen Hill. So BET did their apologies, and years later, they rehired B. Scott, gave him a show, everything. And then there was T.J. Holmes. TJ Holmes was Van Jones before Van Jones. Y'all don't remember TJ. He was Mr. Exquisite, CNN's top dog. BET won a bidding war for this guy. Got him to escape from CNN. He signed a multi two-year deal to sign with BET. So he was going over to BET. Now, this is a happily married man, a father. Now, despite how he might look or whatever, this is a man. But rumor has it, allegedly, when he came to do his programming, he was venomously hit on by the president of BET, Stephen Hill. And allegedly, he did not go for the advances. And allegedly, Mr. Hill wanted to teach him a lesson for that. Mr. Hill thought, allegedly, it would be in the best interest of the company if that show was just canceled after 1 month. And before the 2 years was even up, TJ, who remained silent, left BET to go work someplace else abruptly. What really happened, ladies and gentlemen? B. Scott lawsuit was settled out of court because B. Scott sued BET for a lot, and they made a settlement. Like I said, he got his own thing. But once another allegation was coming out about Hill's behavior, the network was forced to have to shut down and get rid of Stephen Hill. As great as he was at his job, it was the other things that the company could do without. And Deborah Lee, who always took up for him and always kept defending him, also ended up falling on the sword to follow suit. So he cost Deborah Lee her job as president, and he was the head and president of programming. And it was a big shakeup over there at BET, which brings us to the situation where we're currently at right now. Enter creative support, a guy who was brought in named Kendrick Reed. Kendrick Reed came in and had a whole different look on what BET was really about. Choke No Joke was put into the creative department to work with this man who was recently hired there. And when they brought Choke No Choke back to BET, he did mention something about working with this guy and having an incident where he blew up. And because someone tried to blame him for something he didn't do, and instead of just taking the criticism and just going with the flow, he blew up. And it was just like somebody else who warned him told him and said, listen, you are not going to last here long, because this guy here is he does not like alpha men. You're an alpha. You're not going to last long here. Alphas don't last long in that department. And he's going to fire you. When he meets you, Choke, he going to fire you. The guy knew. Because there was been others that since he got there, he was removing that element out of BET. Too much testosterone. Now, Stephen Hill didn't like allegedly didn't like B. Scott dressing feminine, wanted wanted him to dress more manly, right? Remember that comment? I don't want looking like a woman B. Scott. I want tempered B. Scott. And the vice president, Rowan Cowan, said I could speak to him about being less womanly. Why would a man say that? Who know that this person is openly doing what they feel. Why would this man say that? Who seems to be closetly on the other side of the rainbow. Why would he not like that this person is dressing like a woman and wanted him to dress up more like that? This is because Mr. Hill was on the level of what they would call, and this is allegedly, Mr. Hill is the type that is himself the feminine version in this equation. And he likes masculine men, allegedly. Don't like the feminine side, because that's what he is, allegedly. Jealous of another person who might get the attention of the others that this person might want to get. So this is like a scorned woman going after another person. Once again, this is not about attacking people because of their sexuality. It's your choice to go down whatever road you want to go down. This is about abusing your power in the workplace. The same way it would be if the boss was firing somebody for not wanting to be with them. It's wrong. You're playing with people's lives and livelihood. And this is a big corporation. It's a big network. And there's a lot of families, there's a lot of people that's connected to this thing. So for this to happen and be going on for so long and people not saying anything about it, that's very alarming and it's very telling, because the people who were surrounding it, who were supposed to be the kings of hip hop and the people that were like gatekeepers of the music company, why nobody opened their mouths to defend or stand up for these poor people who were victims? And you got Deborah Lee, who kept defending you. She had to get out at the end of the year. Both of them decided to step down, but it was more of a resign or be prosecuted situation. So to save the company's face, he stepped down first, she stepped down last. But his actions cost her her position and his own. Don't forget to hit the like button. And now we'll get right back here, because I want to make sure we get back to current times. Now that we've gone back there, let's get back to the current. Now, this is Kendrick Reed, who was creative at the time. And once he ran into Choke was fired immediately. After the first outburst, never did anything really wrong. And they warned him. They said, hey, this guy walks around in a dress. This guy has a purse and a kimono, whatever dress like thing he's wearing now. He's a fashion guy, and, he's kind of out there, and people, allegedly, whatever he's doing. But since he's got there, they have become more pop, more glamour, and it's nothing like BET strong black entertainment, there is no alphas anywhere on the premises. If you're not passive, if you're not, any type of aggression is not accepted at all at BET, you will be curbed immediately. They have a whole new agenda there, and no testosterone exists anymore. And this is sad. So this is the face you have to blame for what you saw on that award show the other night. Kendrick Reed. That is the face that you need to say, what the hell was that I had to witness on television? They put him in charge. They made him president. They bumped him all the way up and promoted him. Now he's the vice president of all programming on BET. He's strategy, brand ambassador. Everything goes through Kendrick Reed, a man who would wear a dress and carry a purse, who does not like testosterone flowing around, allegedly, at BET. Again, this is not to take down anybody because of their orientation or whatever they want to do sexually. That's their own private business. This is about a company and an agenda. Black is not the new gay. Okay, let's get that straight right now. I want to get that addressed right now. When they try to introduce homosexuality and come across, they love to cross brand and use that with African Americans on commercials, with everything else, when we can't even get representation of us in any type of exuberance of power and respect on television, period. The only way they seem to let you in if you want to be a slave or you want to be homosexual. These type of stereotypes are demeaning for our community, because you don't let someone's sexual orientation dictate who they are as people or what they stand for, what their merits are. You don't know that. That's just someone's orientation. It's just saying, hey, somebody's gay, they're a great person. It's insane to even think that notion. You know nothing about the person. And we're still a minority, even in that group. Blacks, that is. Blacks are minorities in that group. Latinos have the highest number of homosexuality of any other race. Hispanics, Latinos. More than any other race. Do you know what's second? Caucasians. So we're not even number one on that list or number two. Why are we always shown? And it's always TV shows about us. That's the only way we can get a television show now? It's demeaning. And this is not attacking anyone's orientation. It's saying that it does not tell you who somebody is because of their orientation. And this guy is the head of programming director there. There was probably no representation of any black families on there. If you're going to have something like that on there, you can't give us a couple. You give us Cardi B and Offset having a baby. That's it. What was the awards for? What performances? What education? BET used to educate you about the history of blacks. We haven't learned anything on BET anymore. So, like I said, black entertainment television is not being ran by people who represent you. They're giving you an agenda base of what they want you to believe Black entertainment television is about. That's the problem. There is no parity. There is no even playing field. There's no even keel. Everything's on a slant. And that is the problem. And you demasculating a lot of African Americans, mostly men, who are growing up watching these things. And that I have a problem with. So hopefully this clears up everything and people understand more about what's going on here. And you start learning out more about people behind the scenes and what they're actually doing. Again, this was not to tear down anybody. This was to tell you what had happened at this company, what allegedly happened at this company. And I'm reporting what's already have basically been reported. So this is not me with a personal agenda to take them down, and it's a hate thing. It's not a hate thing at all. This is a fact thing. This is a documented situation here. Now, if they're doing some programming, we would love to have somebody from that side want to explain it a little bit more in detail if they feel differently. And if you just wanted to know the list, blacks we were third on the list. Then it was Asians, and then Indian were dead last. Because in Iran, they don't play that. You're like wiped out immediately. You're like, you know what? I like Steve. Great for you and Steve. Yeah, it's not gonna work in India. They gotta be real quiet. But blacks, one thing you guys need to thank the rainbow community, and one thing that blacks need to thank them for is showing them that the way can work. Meaning that the reason why they have all these laws, they have all these things, and they seem like they can get anything they want. Movies, television now, and they can come out and say whatever, and the doors just open right up for them. It's because they, for years, when they were getting dissed and getting put down and whatever, they just took it. They had to take it, but they also fought, and they fought the right way. They fought to get into power, to get laws changed. They came a long way since milk. They came a long way since him. They got all these people in they found out who these people in legislation who was making all these rules, all these laws. They started running against these people. They started going and learning the law, wanting to get certain laws changed so they can get married. They want to go. They learned how to go through the system and use the system to work for them. Something that we need to learn from them and pick up and say, hey, they showed us the way. It do work if you get the people organized. They got organized. But the only difference is with them is they can hide who they are and then reveal who they are when they're ready. We don't have that luxury. So we gotta really be focused and really have to organize to do it fast and have a game plan and have everybody in on it. But you can't get laws passed if you're distracted with all this other nonsense going on. You can't get anything done. And that's the way they want to keep you confused, busy, no time to stop anything to help putting you down. Now, I got to go lay down because I'm tired. I just did a lot of work already to this morning, and I already am exhausted. So, God bless all of you. And many prayers to all you guys, man. I hope you guys new here, subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell. Shouts out to Ed Kwame Brown Bus Life. Subscribe to his page, Self Talk HD, CP's channel, Jose's channel. There's so many people, man. D Style, Sean Boxing Socialist. It's a lot of people, man. So if I miss some people, please forgive me. Blood Boxing, 78 Sports TV, Ticket TV. Whew. Man, there's so many people. But on that note, oh yeah, you can like this video too and subscribe. But on that note though, I am really gone to bed. Let me go upstairs. Hit that. Yeah, man, it's one of them days. Sun's coming up. Sun's up. Sun go up, I go down. That sucks too. I got a meeting at 10 o'clock. Damn. Hate these meetings. Like I said, God bless all of you. The Casino Man is going down.